Hi, everyone. So it's no longer a question of if I should build a customer success team, it's when and how. So today we'll talk about some strategies about building the foundation of bringing forth a thriving customer success team. So some of the things we'll talk about today: defining roles and goals for your team. We'll talk about establishing a customer success methodology when working with your customers. I'll share some best practices in using Tango to build these health profiles, as well as deliver high-impact EBRs. And we'll talk about the importance of building a customer success culture within your company. And then end on key metrics for customer success. So a little bit about me. I'm Director of Customer Success at Pipeline Deals. I'm actually based in Seattle, but I'm a San Francisco native, so I'm really excited to be back in my hometown. This is where my career started. I was an early hire at Google and a founding member of their Google AdSense team, which was essentially a startup group within a startup. So since then, I got bit by the bug, and I am after jobs where I can help build teams from the ground up. So I'm happy to be here to help share some of the learnings that I've had throughout my career. So let's get started. Defining roles. So as we know, customer success is an evolving field, and there's lots of developing ideas out there around how to create your team, and also around the metrics that you use to gauge its impact. So I think a good place to start is customer success versus customer support. So support is meant to be reactive. So customers might be working with your product, they might have an issue with one of your features. Heaven forbid they find a bug, they'll call in, support will fix that and close the ticket. Success, on the other hand, is more of a proactive, ideally a proactive person on the team. So what they'll do is actually establish a relationship with that customer and then get strategic with them, understand their goals and help them meet those goals. So when you're hiring for a customer success manager, I think there's a few foundational qualities that you want to look for. So you want to find someone who is really hyper-focused on that customer experience. So someone that is able to cultivate and really grow those relationships. And hopefully someone who has experience working with different types of personalities. But once you have those soft skills laid, I always encourage people to get a little bit diverse with the skill set that they work with. If you think about the roles and responsibilities of customer success, there's a lot going on. So people will be working with customers on the implementation of the product. So you want to have someone that's maybe a little tech savvy. You'll be doing a lot of executive business reviews or quarterly business reviews. So someone who's able to ask those out-of-the-box what questions and get really strategic. There's a lot of training, so someone who's comfortable working with people over the phone or in presentations. And the fourth piece that I always like to mention is if you can find someone with Excel skills, that's golden, because there's a lot of analysis that goes on when you're trying to figure out churn. I myself don't like Excel, so I found one right away. So the last bit that I will talk about is scale, and this is probably one of the hardest things on this slide. So finding that comfortable balance between the number of accounts or customers that you have per customer success manager. So making sure that you're not burning your success managers out. So now you got your team, let's talk about some of the goals. So I like to start with the overall customer success team KPIs, or key performance indicators. Now that'll be different for each individual and their different businesses and companies, but it will most likely revolve around reducing churn, increasing retention and renewals, and maybe if you've got sales involved, then the expansion revenue. So you'll want to work with your individual CSMs and help them create those roles where they're driving adoption, retention, and maximizing the value of your product. So I always like to use SMART goals. It's probably not a new concept for most of you. They're specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So those individual goals for the CSMs will ultimately roll up to your team goals. So everyone has their own work that they need to do that will end up working for the entire team. Just to give you an example, some of the goals that I do for my team is for onboarding. Each CSM has to complete a cycle of 10 onboardings per month. And they'll have to finish 15 EBRs per month. And also around health score, right now it's around 80, but we're going to bump that up to 85 next quarter. So you want to really just work with the different personalities that you have on your team and highlight their different skill sets. Okay, so you got your team, you got your goals. Now it's time to figure out how to work with the customer. So establishing a customer success methodology is really important. So you want to develop a strategy that's simple, reliable, and customizable for the customer. So kind of like a recipe if you think of it that way. You'll want to think about a success framework. So you're managing this customer relationship throughout the entire customer lifecycle. So that includes onboarding, training, quarterly business reviews, upsells, renewals, straight through to the advocacy and referrals. So really also think about the question, what is your customer's end goal? What does success look like to them? How can you really help them through adoption and drive to first value? And then also identify trends. So this seems easy, but it's really hard. What are the successful customers doing that the churning customers are not? All right, well, so here's where Tango comes in. Tango can be your friend. So Tango helps you drive outreach and strategy when working with your customers. So within Tango, you can segment your customer base and create what's called health profiles. So we started this by mirroring basically what our sales team was doing. And being a subscription-based CRM tool, they were looking at the size of accounts, so based on number of users. So 1 to 4, 5 to 9, 9 to 14, 15 plus. And we realized quickly that that wasn't the best way for us to manage the customers post-sale. So we now restructured it, and we do it based on the concept of age. So regardless of the size of the account, they're all going through the use of your product at the same stage at some point. So we've got 3 buckets. We've got one that's onboarding, and it's for customers who are using the product between 0 and 3 months. We've got adoption for customers using the product between 4 and 9. And then we have retention for 9 plus. So within each of these buckets, we've identified different attributes or desired customer outcomes or actions that they should be taking within each of these buckets. So to break that down further, if I'm looking at my onboarding segment, then we know from data that our successful customers are saving filters. I know that's specific to my business, but just showing you how the process works. So what we do is we dig into our Tango data, and we look at our onboarding, everyone who's within the product 0 to 3 months, and we find and target those customers that are not saving a filter. And then once we have those customers, we create targeted email campaigns, and we'll send out a video of how to save a filter, or we'll send them a link to our knowledge base, which talks right through how to use a filter. And we'll even send a link to our webinar so that they can learn a little more than just the filter. So that's how we work through our Tango profiles, and it's been working really well so far. We also use Tango in developing our best practices for high-impact EBRs. So we try and keep these more strategic than tactical, but we do use Tango to get the usage analytics when we're reviewing the goals. So we'll talk about areas that we can probably help with their adoption if their usage is dropping in certain areas. We'll also share our product roadmap, and we'll enforce the value that our product delivers to their team and get feedback. But really the purpose of these EBRs or quarterly business reviews for us is to really talk to the customer and find out what their goals are, what's working for them, what's not, and then gain agreement on these success milestones. So when you have your follow-up EBR, maybe 90 days later, you can use those milestones that you agreed upon and show how you measure against them and really drive the value that your product is providing. And then lastly, solicit feedback. So they're your best resource. Ask them how things are going. We love to use our customers as beta feature testers. They love it too. They feel involved. They feel part of our team. They feel like they're showing value themselves. So now we've talked about our team, how to build it, goals, how to work with the customer. But I want to talk about, at a holistic view, how you work with customer success within your own company. So driving that customer success culture is so important. So you want to get company alignment. Make sure that you're not running in circles and everybody is going after the same goals. A happy customer is important to every department in your company. So work with the executive team. Make sure that they understand your goals and they stand behind it. And then with sales, work with the handoff. I heard a couple speakers earlier speak to this. Do you want to understand the promises that are being made in those sales negotiations and even issues that arise, potential issues they might have when you're working with them post-sale? So that way you know what's expected and you can meet those expectations. Marketing, work with your product marketing. Make sure that they're delivering the right message at the right time to your customers. And then product, of course. Their job is to be the voice of the customer. So we want to deliver that feedback back to our product team. We deliver them beta testers. They love that. And also just in general, getting product feedback has really made a difference in how we end up executing and launching final product releases. So lastly, I'll touch on some customer success metrics. Again, this will be different at each individual business and company, but I thought I would highlight some of the areas that we struggle with and some of the things that we've done to make it easier for us. So number one issue for us is churn. So we actually broke it down into 3 different areas. So we take a look at churn based on account churn, seat or license churn, and churn MRR. So we've set specific metrics but it's an ongoing challenge for us. So we are new. The company's been around 10 years. Our CS team has been around 2. So we have data to work with, but it's not really all that clean. And also, we're trying to figure out what the trends are. We've released different products along that 10 years, so trying to identify if any of those product releases made a difference in our customer base. So like I say, it's an ongoing challenge. The second metric we focus on is renewals. This one we're doing okay, I'm proud to say. So we've established a process where CS will reach out 2 months before that renewal date and offer any training if they need it. If they're failing in adoption areas or maybe they just haven't been using the product, we'll take that as an opportunity to train them up. And also, we'll bring in sales if it's an opportunity where they're doing awesome and they might potentially be growing or expanding or maybe get them onto a multi-year contract. We'll establish that relationship with sales 5 months out, and it's been working well. And then finally, product adoption. So we've got 2 plans that we offer for our CRM, and within that, we're building different features. So we have different goals that we set around making sure that customers are, again, trained up on those different feature sets and also using it. What did I do? There we go. I'm CS, I'm not IT. So some of today's takeaways. Set your team up for success. Define team goals and an actionable plan. Use Tango to drive your tactical strategy, deliver on metrics, and really inform your customers. When we have our EBRs and we share with them their usage analytics, they're blown away. Some of them are amazing metrics, and some of them they realize, oh, we really need to work on that area. So customer success, again, is a company-wide initiative, and I can't stress this enough. So you really want to get every department to rally around your customer success, because really, ultimately, that's the most important thing for your company is the customer. Talk to your customers. They're your best resource. They'll give you all this feedback that you won't believe, and it will end up changing your product in ways that you didn't imagine. And finally, I'd like to leave you on this note. If you put customer satisfaction and success first, revenue will follow. So thank you for your time and for listening.